Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to move away from using our inequalities. So we're not going to use our symbols at all today. We are going to go back to solving equations. So equations would have an equal sign. We're also going to come back to using absolute value. Now we've talked about absolute value before. We talked about it with these two straight lines. We talked about that being our shower. Anything that goes into our shower needs to come out clean or positive. Now, absolute value is different than parentheses. Parentheses are curved. Absolute value is straight lines. So if x is in our shower and x equals 4, we know that x has to be something that would equal 4, or x has to be 4 units away from 0, or the distance from 0. So we could have 4. X would be 4 units away from 4, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Or the other thing that would be 4 units away from 4 would be negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now remember, if anything goes in our shower, it needs to come out clean. So if we have a negative number, we have a dirty number. The dirty number, negative 4, goes in, and it comes out clean as 4. We also have a positive 4. So if a clean 4 goes into our shower, it comes out clean. So the answer to this could be negative 4 or 4. We have two solutions. So using absolute value gives us two solutions to our equation. We're not going to have just one solution anymore to our equation if we're using absolute value. Down here we have x. The absolute value of x equals 15. If I move this box in front of our x, we now just have our shower doors. Anything that goes into our shower needs to come out as a clean 15. So we know that we could put 15 in there. 15 would be clean. It would go into our shower, come out clean as a 15. Or we could have a negative 15. The dirty negative 15 goes into our shower, comes out clean as positive 15. So our solutions to this problem, or the absolute value of x equals 15, would be x equals 15 or x equals negative 15. If we have the same number, they're the same distance away from 0, we just have a positive number and a negative number. How we can write that is x equals plus or minus 15. This symbol here means our answer could either be positive, with our positive right here, or negative. How we say that symbol is plus or minus. So x could equal plus or minus 15. Over here we have an equation. Now if I were to move this in front of our numbers, all we have is our shower equals 8. Anything that goes into our shower is going to come out a clean 8. So we know what is 8 distance away from 0. We know it's either 8 or negative 8. So 8 or negative 8, we could find, we could get in our shower either 8 or negative 8. So what we need to do is we need to take whatever is in our shower, so it's x minus 3, and we are going to create two problems. one of them is going to equal 8, the other will equal negative 8. So we solve this just like we would any other equation. We got to do the opposite of minus, we have to plus, or add. And add 3 over here. So what we get is x equals 11. Over here we would also add 3. And add 3 on this side. What we get is x equals negative 5. These two would be our two solutions to this problem. X equals 11 or x equals negative 5. Now there's a way we can check to see if we did this right. We just need to put this 11 back in for our x. So we would have the absolute value of 11 minus 3 equals 8. 11 minus 3 is 8. The absolute value of 8 is 8. So this clean 8 goes into our shower, comes out clean. So 8 equals 8. They're the same number, so they equal each other. Here we can put this negative 5 in for x. So what we have is the absolute value of negative 5 minus 3 equals negative 8. Or equals 8, sorry. We are just adding whatever we found back to our original equation. So negative 5 minus 3 is negative 8. So the absolute value of negative 8 would equal 8. Now we have a dirty number in our shower, so we have to clean that up so it comes out clean. 8 now equals 8. So we know that negative 5 and 11 are both solutions or answers to our problem. Here, if we put our box in front of our equation, we just have two shower doors. Whatever's in that shower door has to equal 9. So we know that we could either have 9 or negative 9 inside our shower. So what we need to do is we need to create two problems. So we would have r minus 7 equals 9, or r minus 7 equals negative 9. Now we solve this just like any other, so we add 7 both sides. What we're left with is r equals 16, and we would add 7 to this side and add 7 over here. So we would have r equals negative 9 plus 7 is negative 2. So our two solutions would be r equals 16 or r equals negative 2. You could put either 16 or negative 2 in for r, and this would solve our equation. You can check that by putting this 16 in for r or negative 2 in for r, and you should come out to 9. Over here, we have the absolute value of 2x equals 16. So we know that whatever's in our shower door, or in our shower, can either be 16 or negative 16. So we have to create our two problems. We would have 2x equals 16 or 2x equals negative 16. So we solve this just like any other. If 2 is touching our x, we know there's like a multiplication sign in the middle. We have to divide by 2. X then equals 8. Here we also have to divide by 2. X would then equal negative 8. So because we have the same number, 8 and 8, but one is positive and one is negative, how we could write that is x equals plus or minus 8. So what x equals plus or minus 8, that means either positive or negative 8. You don't have to write it out 2 times, you can just put plus or minus 8. Here, we know that whatever's in our box has to equal 15 or negative 15. So if we create 2 problems, we would have 4x plus 1 equals 15, or 4x plus 1 equals negative 15. So if we solve this, first of all we have to subtract 1. (15 minus 1 is 14). What we're left with is 4x equals 14. We have to divide by 4. Divide by 4 to get x by itself. What we're left with is x equals about 3.5. Now that's fine that we got a decimal. 3.5 is a pretty easy decimal. Over here we need to subtract 1 from both sides. What we're left with is 4x equals negative 16. So if we divide by 4 and divide by 4, x would then equal negative 4. So we know that x could either equal 3.5 or x could equal negative 4. Now over here, we have a number outside of our parentheses. What we need to think of this as is this is our whole bathroom. This whole problem is our bathroom. If we would put our box in front of this 2x minus 2, let's see if I can get it in front of it. Well, if we imagine that this box was in front of our 2x minus 2, this whole problem is our bathroom. We can't have anything in our bathroom before we take a shower. We can think of this 3 as dirty. We don't want to go into a dirty bathroom to get into a clean shower. So what we need to do is we need to get rid of this 3 first. Instead of distributing, because we don't have parentheses, we're not going to distribute. We're going to get rid of the 3 first. Now 3 is still touching our absolute value. So what that means is multiply. The opposite of multiply is divide. So we're going to divide by 3. to get rid of it. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. That doesn't matter anymore. What we're left with is the absolute value of 2x minus 2 equals 6. Now we know that anything in our shower has to equal either 6 or negative 6. So we got to create our two problems. We have 2x minus 2 equals 6, or 2x minus 2 equals negative 6. We need to add 2 here and add 2 here. We can cancel those out. We get 2x equals 8. Divide by 2 to get x by itself. And x equals 4. Over here we also need to add 2. Those cancel out. What we're left with is 2x equals negative 4. If we divide by 2 to get x by itself, we get x equals negative 2. So our two solutions are x equals 4 or x equals negative 2. So remember, for this last problem that we just did, everything needs to be out of our bathroom before we can take a shower. So we need to get rid of this 3. We got rid of the 3 by dividing. Here we need to get rid of everything in our bathroom. So to get rid of this 4, we need to divide it, because it's touching our absolute values. That means multiply. Those will cancel out. What we're left with is the absolute value of n plus 9 equals 5. Now we know that this is either 5 or negative 5. So we're going to have n plus 9 equals 5, or n plus 9 equals negative 5. So we need to subtract 9 from both sides. What we're left with is n equals negative 4. And subtract 9 from this side. And subtract 9 over here. What we're left with is n equals negative 14. So we either have n equals negative 4 or n equals negative 14. Now over here, we have two things in our bathroom, plus our shower. What we need to do first is we need to do this like, we need to get rid of our negative 7 first. Just like in our solving equations, we always undo addition or subtraction first. So what we need to do is we need to undo the subtraction, and we need to add 7, because the opposite of minus is add. So we're going to add 7 to both sides. Then what we're left with is negative 3 times the absolute value of n plus 2 equals negative 3. Negative 10 plus 7 equals negative 3. Still, we have something in our bathroom that needs to be cleaned up before we can shower. We need to divide by negative 3. And we get the absolute value of n plus 2 equals 1. Two negatives make a positive 1. Negative 3 goes into negative 3 just once. So now we know that this can either be 1 or negative 1. So we have two problems. N plus 2 equals 1, or n plus 2 equals negative 1. So we have to solve this by subtracting 2 and subtracting 2. N equals negative 1. Here we have to subtract 2 and subtract 2. Those cancel, and equals negative 3. So for our last problem, n could either equal negative 1 or negative 3. That's it for today. Go grab your homework, and we'll see you tomorrow.